Hello everyone. Today I'm looking at some of my fusion projects in terms of root over rock creations. I've done a lot, as you saw from those earlier pictures, so I've decided for purposes of the video making I'm just going to concentrate on these particular five. We have ash here, we have a coniferous variety which I do not know the name of. He's self-seeded in the garden from hereabouts. We have hawthorn there, and we have two willow. I have a lot of willows in training because they take so easily from cuttings, and the majority of them have all suffered from the same problem, which we'll look at in a minute. If we start with the ash here, we've achieved some very good fusion in places. In others it hasn't quite arrived yet. There's still a gap there. If I was still a smoker, I would say you could slide the edge of a cigarette paper between the two trees there, but I'm not, so I'm not going to say that. And if you come around the back, you can see there's an even bigger gap just here. So we will continue growing these on for another year or two, and hopefully the gaps will have all closed and we'll have proper fusion as we have down here at the base. I'm still undecided as to the front of this tree. I actually like this view of the rock best, as opposed to this more flat view of the rock at the back. But this has an interesting root that curls round over and between and back out again, so I have three at the back, three at this side and two at the back. Or if I turned it around, I could have two at the front and three at the back. I think I'm going to keep it three at the front for now. So what I want to do is I want to address the fact that I have essentially a double trunk here. So I want to remove this slightly smaller section. I feel like it gives me a nicer trunk line, but I'm wary that that has not fully fused yet, so I'm not going to remove all of it. So I'm going to shorten it to there. A couple of buds, they will break, they will grow out and hopefully thicken this piece up and fuse fully, and then I can remove this section afterwards. Assuming that this is the back, I am going to leave this piece on. This will help fatten the base some more. Likewise this bit. I do have a little piece in there that I want to lose, so that's gone. And then bringing this back round to the front, I have some high pokey branches, which again I'm just going to shorten off rather than lose completely. Because I want them to grow and further fuse. This piece I'm actually going to take off to this bud, and this bud can then be the new leader. So that's just some rough work on this tree. Hopefully we will lose a lot of this scarring over the next couple of years, but we will see. I will keep making videos as long as I can, and we will see for ourselves whether this is a technique worth following. Okay, so that's enough of that one. Let's go for the hawthorn next. A few weeds, you can get rid of those, some dead leaves and things. I'm not repotting any of these trees this year. I am repotting some trees, but I'll largely be doing that off camera. There are plenty of more interesting and better people making videos on repotting than me. So if you want the Hilly potting video, feel free to go and search one out. Okay, so at the moment this is my preferred front. I only have 3 trees in this particular grouping, and this tree did not want to cooperate and fit around the trunk very easily, around the rock very easily, so it's not as aesthetically pleasing. All I'm going to do with this is shorten everything back. I've got quite a bit of long growths which aren't really going to be branches anytime soon, so I'm just going to trim them back. In fact, I'm going to take that piece off completely in a moment. So I'll just shorten it initially, and then take that off there. Okay, now this is interesting because it's grown out between the 3, so I'm going to keep this, and when it thickens up I might even wire it across to there, or even to there, just to give a bit more interest to the root structure, or lose it entirely. Either way it will help thicken this particular trunk up and help induce fusion between the 2. So looking at it some more, I'm going to have some dieback here. We'll chop out that dead piece, and I'm just going to shorten this piece because again we're not fully fused, so I don't want to risk cutting it back and having it dying back to here, say. So I'm going to, yeah, I want to keep this as my main trunk line, so I'm going to shorten this one and also that one. And we have another branch growing out strongly here, which I'm going to shorten back quite harshly. And similarly, I'm going to take this piece out. Now this piece here, again I'm going to leave it, and I think once it's fattened up a bit more I'm going to wire it into, ouch, hawthorn, prickly, wire it into this position so it's hugging the rock some more. So that's about it. I'm just going to shorten this top piece back to there. Just a little bit of tidying. And that tree will now be allowed to grow freely. I'm going to call it the bat tree, even though it is 3 in 1. Again, we will come back to that. No, I'm going to take that off as well. There. Okay. We'll come back to that later in the year, and as the years go by. You see in the background here I have some more rocks that I've picked up while I was out walking the dog. The fields around here are absolutely littered with stones, and if you go out after the farm is ploughed, the fields they're just literally crisscrossed with public footpaths, so you can just wander almost anywhere. And once the farmer has ploughed, all the rocks are on the surface just waiting to be picked up. So some of them are really good, like this, kind of almost a V shape. And I have 7 willows over this tree. Some fusion, but not fully fused yet. So I am going to just shorten these back as I did with the others. And now the problem I spoke of earlier is that though this part of this tree is alive to here. It is dead from here and into the trunk, but it has sent out a side shoot from the point where it has died. So again, that's far too flimsy to try and wire into the trunk at the moment. I'm not going to undo the trunk and undo any of the bits of fusion that are done to try and get this dead piece out. I will just snip it off, and the bit that's stuck inside the tree will have to stay there. Now, as this piece thickens and grows through the season, I will wire it into place to be the 7th root. So it's a fairly easy job, but I don't feel that this is fat enough to take it at the moment, so why risk it? So that's it for that tree. That's just a quick snip. And I have an identical situation here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trees to make the roots hugging this tree, and just here the tree has died, but again I have a new shoot, so that will be wired up into there. Now I'm going to try and cut this off above the wiring point because it's easier to get at, it's not buried in the middle. Now if you can see that dead piece, just try and dig it out. And here, just tease it out with the scissors. That is a problem with willow, is that they will die back from time to time, but you just have to do the best you can, and if you're lucky they will cooperate and throw you a bone, as it were. Yeah. So I am going to actually put a new piece of wire at the top there. Just to pull that back in together now that I've removed that dead section. And then it's just a question of I'm going to trim it back . Let that regrow. I may need to just tighten that piece of wire up a little more. I try to avoid using too much wire. Obviously the more wire you have, the more scarring you will get, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to have it splitting apart as it grows. So I'm going to remove that piece and put in this piece. There. Okay, so that's that, and then later in the year when this shoot has thickened up sufficiently, that will be wired into place there as well. Once the tree has broken into leaf, I may even remove some of these back to the sort of the lowest shoot, but we'll see about that later in the spring. Okay, that finally leaves this one. Now, I'm thinking that this is possibly the front. As the years go by and these trunks thicken up, it'll look more impressive. Or possibly this one. Either way, there's not much to be done with this tree, apart from I'm just going to cut it back quite substantially all over. I know this is going to leave some browned ends, but they will shed. I want to keep this tree compact if I can. So it's just a question of almost a brutal cutting. Now that'll reshoot from all over, hopefully, and later, once I've got some better fusion at the bottom here, I can think about shaping a trunk, but at the moment fusion is what really counts. So that's it. As I say, I have a lot of these fusion projects and I'm going to make some more, but I think for the time being I'm just going to concentrate these videos on these 5 particular trees, and there will be a video later in the summer on the large beech root over rock fusion project I've got going as well, so subscribe if you want to see that. I think that's about everything for today. Everyone take care out there, and thank you for watching.